You dare throw words at me like that? Well, I'll teach you to do that. I'm gonna make you eat those words.
Okay.
PC gaming in the 2000s. If you weren't playing something mainstream like Doom or Quake, you were playing 3D pinball or computer solitaire. Or you may have been playing a game by PopCap Games. PopCap got its claim to fame with the Bejeweled series, which I covered nearly 3 years ago. Anyway, the Bejeweled games weren't PopCap's only hits, as I alluded to in that video. The PopCap framework was very versatile, allowing for many different kinds of games to be made, and the engine would expand over the years to allow for insanely different games that would not have been possible in earlier versions. I'll be playing 11 of these games today, starting with some of PopCap's earliest hits, and somewhat obscure titles, and ending with the last original games they made before the dreaded EA approached them and turned them into a Plants vs. Zombies money-grubbing factory. All but one of the games I'm playing today are still available on Steam, unless something catastrophically changes in the future, so if something caught your eye that you're interested in, that's where you can go to get it, and plenty more that I didn't have time to cover. They are all compatible with Windows, but the few Mac releases are the same ones from the mid-2000s, so they're not compatible with macOS Catalina and above, or any Apple Silicon Mac. Now then, is anyone hungry? So consider, if you will, the phrase,
"I'll make you eat those words."
It's impossible to do this, right? Well, unless you eat a book, but typically it only tastes good with honey. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. Bookworm is a game where you have a grid of Scrabble letters. Sorry, that's what they look like to me. And you have to connect those letters and spell words of 3 letters or more to earn points. As you create words, your little friend Lex the Bookworm eats them as more letters fall down. If you spell longer words, there's a chance of a tile turning into a green tile, and longer words than that potentially give gold or platinum letters that are all worth even more points when used in a word.
Excellent.
Sometimes you'll get a bonus word underneath Lex that's worth extra points. If you're stuck on finding words to make, clicking on Lex allows you to scramble the board. However, as you do that, and as you spell smaller words consecutively, burning tiles appear. These tiles will burn the tile underneath it each time you spell a word, and if it reaches the bottom and you can't make a word with it, the library burns down and it's game over. The game features a full dictionary for spelling words, and if a particular word is not commonly used in the English language, Lex will share a definition of the word. Feel free to experiment with different letter combinations because certain words are worth more points than others. There are 2 game modes. Normal mode is just like I described it. The player can take as long as they want, and burning tiles and such will only appear after each turn. In action mode, however, a burning tile, or multiple, will show up every 10 seconds, and if there are already burning tiles on the screen, they will slowly climb down the board as the game progresses. If a burning tile reaches the bottom, the player has 10 more seconds to get rid of it before it burns down the library. You earn points as you play, completing level requirements and gaining new ranks as you progress. As the levels increase, the likelihood of burning tiles showing up increases, encouraging the spelling of longer words. Hopefully you won't end up needing to scramble when you have special tiles on the board, because a scramble gets rid of all the bonus tiles on the screen. It really is a worst case scenario move to make. And that's Bookworm. It's a simple concept, but it really challenges your brain by making you put words together. I understand that many overseas users might dread the sound of that, since English isn't exactly the most cohesive or easy language to learn, and I'll admit that some of the words I ended up spelling were completely unfamiliar to me. But it is still a fun time. I also like the little details, like how the ranks become less nonsensical, then more nonsensical as you play, and how Lex can't control himself after eating 2 or more burning tiles. Typically, when people think of PopCap games, they think of Bejeweled, Peggle, Plants vs. Zombies, or this game. It's one of their top games, and it shows. The next game is also ranked high among the PopCap classics, Zuma. Let's take a trip to Aztec times, unless that's not the era being represented here, with Zuma, a game where you have to stop this trail of colored marbles from reaching the skull face. To do this, you must play as this weird frog thing and shoot marbles into the path to make matches of 3 or more. You have access to 2 marbles at all times, and you can rotate between them by using the right mouse button. If you make a match between 2 same colored marbles, the ones in front will fly backward, potentially leading to combos. Your goal is to earn enough points to fill up the meter in the corner, so that more marbles aren't produced. Then clear out the rest of the marbles. If even one marble gets into the hole, you lose a life and need to try the level again. Lose all your lives, and it's game over. The adventure mode features levels with 5 stages each, and the challenges become much harder as you progress. I didn't finish the whole game for this video, but I played enough that you have a good idea of what to expect from Zuma. Some later levels include 2 paths to keep track of, and it only takes 1 marble to end the game. Sometimes there will be tunnels where the marble you fire ends up flying over it. You can also collect these coins that increase your score and fill up the meter faster. As well, some marbles will become power-ups. Some explode, some slow down the trail, some help you make more accurate shots, and some make the marbles go backwards for a bit. There's also a Gauntlets mode, which challenges you to play as long as you can before losing. As you play, the marbles will become faster and more colors will be introduced to keep you on your toes. And it doesn't end until you let the trail fall into the skull face. Good for those who are patient, not so good for those who aren't able to keep up. I'm aware that PopCap wasn't the only developer to make a game like this. The one other game that comes to mind is Luxor from Mumbo Jumbo. However, while I briefly played Luxor, I think Zuma did the formula better. I'm also aware that PopCap made a sequel called Zuma's Revenge, but I've never played it, so I won't be covering it today. And with that, we can call it a wrap on Zuma. For the next 7 games, I don't know the exact release window, or really feel like researching it, so I'm going in alphabetical order. That means up next is AstroPop. I love me a good space shooter. I played a lot of Galaga after all. But this game has the space without the shooter. Enter AstroPop, a game where you grab colored bricks and smash them together while more bricks appear from the top to keep you at bay. Move the ship around with the mouse, click the left mouse button to pick up bricks, and then click the right button to release them. You can only pick up 1 color at a time, but for each color you can hold up to 6 bricks. Matches happen when 4 or more are smashed together. For instance, you can pick up 1 brick and throw it at a pile of 3, or pick up 2 bricks and smash them against 2 more. Combos are scored by either having bricks fall into matches, or by having lightning fast reflexes to make another match as the game is scoring your first one. Since bricks continue to pile into the playing field, you need to be quick with your matches. You play through specific levels by smashing a certain number of bricks to proceed, but colored bricks aren't the only things you have to worry about. Although if you are worried about them, the game has a colorblind mode. That is one thing I did like about PopCap. They knew that some people have trouble telling colors from each other, so they added tools to let people play the game as efficiently as possible. Anyway, there are these charge blocks that change any color it hits into a supercharge block. These blocks are sort of like flame gems in Bejeweled. They explode the bricks around them. There are bricks that take out entire rows or columns, or just explode in a circle, while others get bonus points. Rock and steel bricks need to be touching a match to be damaged and eventually removed. Then there are these poison bricks, which need to be matched like a rock or steel brick quickly, lest they infect the blocks around them. All of this is happening while you're making matches, and more bricks are coming in, so later levels can be really tricky as a result. If the blocks reach the bottom of the screen before you can get rid of them, your ship explodes and it's game over. However, as you keep playing, you can charge your super weapon to help take care of those pesky bricks. That's where the character selection comes in, as each character has a different super weapon. Vector's plasma cannon pierces through bricks, Vix's psychic blast lets you click on specific bricks to destroy them, Sprocket's fusion warhead is able to automatically target and destroy certain bricks, and Turbot's neutron pulse freezes incoming bricks while targeting harmful bricks for destruction. The game uses a progression-based save system. Every 4 levels, the game saves a new checkpoint, meaning you can start a new game from there. But to unlock Vix and Turbot, you need to play to level 8 as Vector and level 16 as Sprocket, respectively. There is a little bit of story in the game for each character. Vector is an astropilot that abandoned his course to rescue Vix, whose ship was disabled. Once rescued, Vix has to go and save her home planet from being destroyed. Sprocket is trying to find parts to fix Turbot, but when she does, he goes berserk, causing the Astrocops to chase after him. It turns out Turbot is fulfilling a secret mission that would endanger the others if they knew about it. Not exactly deep stuff, but it's there for people who want a little more than a fun action game. Aside from the standard levels, every few levels you'll be able to play the bonus round, which challenges you to clear all the bricks on screen. You're awarded bonus points for each brick popped, but there's a penalty for missing any. It's very possible that the number of bricks you popped ends up negated by the penalty, so you don't win or lose points from a bonus round. Okay. Then there's survival mode, which tests your reflexes to see how long you can last. The game gets faster and the brick colors start increasing in number as you play, and it doesn't end until you can't keep up and lose. The music sounds okay. It's not up to the level of previous or future PopCap endeavors, but it nails the sci-fi aesthetic that it's going for. The songs sort of blend together though, almost making me wonder if the tracks are changing at all. Other than that, the sound design works. Nothing is too loud or quiet, and it fits the tone the game sets with its visuals. Speaking of which, the playing field is plainly visible, and the colorblind mode helps distinguish each brick from another if colors are an issue for people. The characters also have exaggerated designs that don't really look like any other game, making it unique. And that's it, really. AstroPop is an insanely fast and fun game, different from really any other puzzle game. This was PopCap's specialty, making fun puzzle games that nobody else was really doing, or if they try something that's been done before, they make it better. Another game I've never really seen anyone else do before, or after, is the next game we're covering, Atomica. So, when you think of someone who works with atoms and molecules for a living, what do you think of? Not a puzzle game, I bet. This is Atomica, a game where you push atoms into groups of 4 or more to clear them out of the board. Elements come in different colors, with a colorblind mode if needed, and new atoms appear when you move an atom and it doesn't result in a match. Making consecutive matches creates combos that help charge up your atomic bomb, which will destroy a certain number of random atoms based on how charged it is. There are also bonus molecules that require specific formations to make, and these can do things like explode, freeze incoming atoms, etc. You also need to worry about biohazard atoms, which multiply every 5 turns. Don't let these things multiply. As more colors appear, you'll also run into chromium atoms, which take the properties of an atom it's next to. It's essentially a wild atom. As you play, more atoms will appear at once, and the game ends if the board fills up completely. Atomica has 2 game modes. The strategy mode is what I just described. You have as much time as you want to plan moves, and new atoms only appear if you move an atom that doesn't make a match. There's also an action mode where new atoms continually fill the board without you playing, so making molecules quickly is the name of the game here. Same rules as before, but if you're fast enough, the game lets you make bonus molecules here too. The game also features bonus rounds, just like AstroPop, where you have to clear out every atom you can. Unlike AstroPop, you're not penalized for leaving atoms behind, so this is automatically a better bonus round system in my book. The music is very different from other PopCap games, not relying too much on melodies, but excelling in sci-fi ambience. I would prefer something melodic and thus more memorable, but for the game, it's serviceable. The graphics are also okay, but I honestly had to turn on the colorblind mode because the green and orange atoms looked way too similar. There's a way to distinguish those colors, and they didn't try hard enough here. That's my only real gripe with the game though, because it's loads of fun. Coming up with plans to make combos using many potential molecules, and setting up bigger ones to build up the atomic bomb is an interesting take. Now, believe it or not, Atomica and the next game on our list have something in common. What does science need to continue researching and developing? Money. Big money, that is. So, let's address the elephant in the room first.
1, 2, 3, 4, keep it up!
Yes, this game fundamentally plays exactly like Super Collapse, but it has its own twists. Yes, you're given rows of colored coins and you click on groups of 3 or more to collect them. Yes, you have to deal with more rows of coins rising from the bottom. Yes, if the coins reach the top of the screen and you can't get rid of them, it's game over. However, you don't complete levels by simply clearing rows of coins. Instead, making matches builds up the coin meter until a money bag drops into the playfield. Match a group of coins under that bag to collect it, and you're required to collect a certain number of money bags to finish a level. The number of money bags needed increases as the levels continue, leading to longer levels and sometimes more difficult situations. So you know what that means. That's the action mode. Strategy mode is similar, except a new row of coins appears after every move. I wasn't good at it in Super Collapse, and I wasn't good at it here either. Clearly, I'm not a good strategist, which explains why I'm so bad at Risk. The game also has a puzzle mode where you're challenged with clearing a specific arrangement of coins. My left mouse button needs to heal, so I'll talk about the graphics and music. The interface is clean and nothing is distracting. The music is pretty good too. Not my favorite PopCap soundtrack, but Skaven did it again. It has that grand money-making kind of vibe and it works so well. And that's big money. It's a smaller game than others, including Collapse 2, but I think the sound design and aesthetic overall make it a more enjoyable game for me. Collapse always felt basic, and Big Money is bursting with personality. PopCap loved making games with personality, and the next game is proof of that. Here's probably one of my favorite casual games, Dynomite. What's more fun than eating eggs? Blowing them up. Dynomite is a puzzle game styled after Bust-A-Move, called Puzzle Bobble in Japan, where you slingshot colored eggs upwards on a grid to detonate groups of 3 or more. There are at least 3 different colors of eggs, but as you keep playing and reach higher difficulties, the number of colors will increase. Blowing up any eggs holding up other eggs will cause those eggs to fall down, clearing the playfield even more, and on occasion an egg will shake, revealing a baby when matched that's worth extra points. As well, you can find power-ups in some eggs that give you bonus points, temporary multipliers, or a guide showing you exactly where your egg will land. Making consecutive matches grants you combos. Reaching Dynomite combo turns your egg into a straight-up bomb that detonates a hole in the puzzle. However, if the eggs reach the bottom, you have a very short amount of time to get rid of the offending eggs before Mama Dino's foot comes crashing down, ending your game. There are 4 game modes to choose from. Endless mode is a never-ending stream of eggs, and the amount of colors and speed depends on your difficulty level. In the corner, Crony keeps an eye on the time with his hourglass. When time runs out, a tiny pterodactyl named Whirly shows up with a new color. If he makes it to the top of the board, that color will be added to the game, so if you want to keep things simple, shoot him down. The second game mode is Stomped Puzzle. Here, you're given a set of eggs and are challenged with clearing the whole board. It's a puzzle mode, basically. However, your moves are limited. As you shoot eggs upward, Mama Dino starts to get more and more mad. After a certain number of moves, Mama will start to shove her foot downward, giving you less space to clear the eggs. If the eggs reach the bottom and you can't clear them out in time, it's game over. The puzzles become more challenging as you go along, but you also get more difficult puzzles based on the difficulty level you choose. The third game mode is Fossil Challenge. There's a piece of a fossil buried within the puzzle, so your job is to clear the eggs around it and make it fall to collect it. Crony appears again in the corner, but when his hourglass runs out here, the puzzle gets pushed down a bit, giving you less room to clear out the eggs. The fossils are split into pieces, and the fossils become bigger and require more pieces to finish as you keep going. The last game mode is Time Trial. You're given a set number of rows with more colors than normal, and it's your job to clear them all as fast as possible. You can't run out of time, and if you need more room to clear eggs, the stage just moves upward. There are no other catches. You can't lose this one. Just try to clear the board as fast as you can. If you're in the middle of a game and need to step away, you can manually save your progress by clicking the floppy disk icon on the left. Reloading a game is as easy as clicking the Load Game button in the main menu later. The graphics look like they were made in comparatively primitive 3D software, but you have to remember that this was made in the early 2000s by developers that were still getting on their feet. So, I'm not going to rag on it too much. Everything is clearly laid out and nothing is confusing, so they did their job. The music, on the other hand, is amazing. If I couldn't pick a Bejeweled game as my favorite soundtrack, Dynomite is my next pick because every song in this game is a banger. The title music is funky, the endless music is frantic, the stopped music is heart-pumping and catchy, and every other song in the game just works. Our old friend Skaven was back at work for this one and he nailed it out of the park here. Honestly, everything about this game works and that's why I love it. I adore just about every game in this video, but Dynomite in particular holds a special place in my heart. I love it just as much as the Bejeweled games, which makes it really sad for me to move on because I could talk about this game all day, even though I'd just be repeating what I said earlier over and over again. So before that happens, let me switch over to our next game, Chuzzle. Did I just stumble into a rare factory? Chuzzle is the only game in this video not technically developed by PopCap. It was developed instead by Raptisoft, who licensed the PopCap framework to make it. Oh boy, the hamster ball guys are back. And thankfully, this game is loads of fun. Chuzzle is a match 3 game featuring these adorable puff balls named Chuzzles. Instead of swapping 2 Chuzzles though, you slide the entire row or column to make groups of 3 or more. The Chuzzles loop around so there's no need to worry about any of them going missing. Matches happen quickly and often as you play, and just like Bejeweled, once you fill up the meter to end the level, you get a new set of Chuzzles. If you can make a 2x2 match, you also attract giant Chuzzles, which can slide around but block each end of the board, so they don't loop. Matching 5 or more Chuzzles spawn Chuzzles that pulsate and look like they're about to sneeze, and these act like flame gems in Bejeweled, popping the Chuzzles around them. As you get further into the game, some Chuzzles will randomly... No, not this again! No! Chuzzle features 4 game modes. Classic Chuzzle is what I just described, and the game ends if the player cannot make any more moves. Speed Chuzzle is just like the normal mode, except Chuzzles will randomly get locked as time passes. The game ends when enough Chuzzles are locked that you can't move any rows or columns. Mindbender is a different twist. You have to move rows and columns around to match the picture in the corner. Unlike other modes, the Chuzzles don't move back to their original position when you let go, helping you solve the puzzles. Finally, Zen mode is what you'd expect, just matching Chuzzles until you get bored. No locked Chuzzles, no other funny business, just plain gameplay. As you play, you can unlock trophies, a precursor to the achievement system found in Bejeweled Twist and 3. It behaves the same way. You get a trophy for doing something specific or completing a certain task multiple times. Great for achievement buffs, but I'm not an achievement buff, so there. The visuals are a sight to behold here. The UI is filled with all sorts of bright colors, and the Chuzzles themselves are quite colorful. They're playful too. You can click on them with the left mouse button and make them sneeze all their fur off. If you do that to a big Chuzzle, it burps instead. If you shake the row or column back and forth, they get dizzy. And if you leave your cursor on one for too long, it'll actually push the cursor somewhere else. I didn't even know that was a thing until I had to get up to do something during a recording. Chuzzle is the antithesis of Hamster Ball. It's a new take on a beloved classic that completely works and has nothing wrong with it whatsoever. This game is well worth your time. And speaking of time sinks, and in an additive scenario, speaking of sinking, let's move on to our next game, Insaniquarium. Boy, I remember taking care of fish when I was a kid. As in, I would forget to feed them and they'd die. I promise I'm much better at taking care of animals now. On that tangent, Insaniquarium is a game where you take care of guppies in a tank. You feed them, they grow, they spit out coins for some reason, and you have to earn enough money to buy 3 pieces of an egg to finish the level. You can have multiple fish at once, meaning you have to feed them all continually. Oh, and everything costs money. The fish, the multipliers, the better food, the egg pieces, and actually feeding the suckers costs money too. That's why the bigger fish drop money, so you can actually pay for stuff. It's like being a university student. However, taking care of these fish requires more than just feeding them once in a while and making sure you keep the carnivorous fish from eating the ones you want to grow. At any random moment, a flipping alien shows up trying to eat all the fish, and if it gets them all, you run out of money, it's game over. Okay, how do we go from a cute fish simulator to aliens? Who came up with this? The scriptwriters for Shadow the Hedgehog? So, you need to fight these aliens. Most of them can be taken down by clicking on them to shoot them, and where you shoot them can determine where in the tank they go, so leave them away from the fish where you can. There are some aliens that require different methods to defeat, such as this one that required I overfeed it to defeat it. That's a lot to do on your own with only so many revenue streams. Luckily, those eggs you buy unlock pets for future levels. These include Stinky, who catches coins you missed, Nico, who occasionally gives you a pearl that's worth a decent chunk of money, Prego the mama fish, who can give birth to guppies for free, and Zorf, who will occasionally spit out food to help feed your fish and keep costs down. You can only have 3 at a time, so for a given level you need to choose wisely. The adventure mode takes you through a few different tanks that each have their own landscapes, fish, unlockables, and aliens. There's also a time trial mode that challenges you to collect the most money in a short amount of time. The game plays normally during this time, but the strategy changes. The game also has a challenge mode, but I had to beat adventure mode to do that, and I didn't have enough time. The game also comes with a virtual tank, which lets you buy fish for your own private viewing. No aliens here, just you and the fish. If you buy a carnivore, you can provide non-store-bought guppies to feed it, and you can add other pets to the tank as well. And that's Insaniquarium. Where this idea came from, I have no idea, but it can go from 0 to 60 in a split second once those aliens appear. Taking care of the fish on its own is enough, but trying to balance everything at once is frantic. Almost stress-inducing. And on the topic of battling sea creatures, here's Typer Shark. Behold, the only PopCap game where your primary method of play is the keyboard, not the mouse. This is Typer Shark, a game where you play as a deep-sea diver looking for treasure. However, you have to battle against various kinds of sharks and other harmful creatures on your way down, so you're equipped with a special keyboard that can zap these sharks if you type the words written on them correctly. The game starts you off with some easier words and splits them into themes. For instance, one group of sharks uses planet names, and another has office supplies. But as you go along, the words become more complex. You're also introduced to piranhas, which each have 1 letter on them. That makes it easier to zap them, but they come in larger numbers and swim faster to make up for it. After a few levels, sharks and piranhas will slip forward slightly hidden, but you can still somewhat make out the words and letters to zap them before they slow down. Eventually, you'll run into hammerhead sharks and tiger sharks. Hammerheads have 2 words each, so you need to zap them twice, and tiger sharks have 3 words. There are special piranhas that also have 2 letters. Jellyfish occasionally show up that have 3 letters each, but they don't actually attack you. Then there are ghost sharks, which have a proper word but scramble the letters before and as you type, leading to potential typos as you attack them. Don't worry though, as you play you charge up your Shark Zapper, which lets you wipe out an entire screen with the press of the Enter key. You don't get an accuracy bonus for that since, well, you never actually typed a word. Oh yeah, if you can achieve 95% accuracy or higher with a given round of sharks, you earn bonus points. And once you reach the bottom, you enter a lightning round where you type as many words as possible to earn more points before getting the treasure, which is bejeweled gems? Nice continuity there. On occasion, you'll run into a boss battle. Typically, the way you defeat these is by typing the words on the missiles they fire to turn them back to the boss. It doesn't take many hits to take them down, and you can be on your way afterward. There's also a survival mode where you play until you can't handle the sharks any longer. I made extensive use of the Shark Zapper in this mode, but I ultimately caved. There's a limit, and these games know how to hit mine. The game also comes with a typing tutor for people who want to learn how to type or want to improve their skills. I didn't use it much. Once I started learning Action Script, my fingers became Wait a minute, I typed too fast. The visuals are fine, though like many of the games in this video, it runs at 640 by 480. The music is pretty good though. This is one of the few PopCap games that didn't feature a soundtrack by Skaven. This game was composed instead by Purple Motion, another demo scene composer, so his music fits the series well also. Gotta say, he's good at coming up with catchy themes too. I can't get the main theme out of my head. That about wraps up Typer Shark. It's not the only typing heavy game out there, but it was one I spent a good chunk of time on as a kid. Playing the game as an adult just made me realize how many mistakes I make that leave me taking autocorrect for granted. But now we reach the final stop on our quest. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Peggle. I have no idea how to introduce this game, so let's just start at the beginning. When you begin the game, you're enrolled into the Peggle Institute, where you meet your first teacher and the founder of the institute, Bjorn? How do you say that? He takes you through the ropes for Peggle. You aim with the mouse and click to shoot the ball toward these pegs. There are 20 orange pegs, and the rest of them are blue. Your goal is to use your 10 balls to hit all 20 orange pegs, after which you activate Extreme Fever. There will be pegs and bricks in later levels, and you can get the ball to slide on the bricks with careful timing. Green pegs activate a magic power, which differs based on the instructor you play with. Bjorn... I'm never going to be able to say that right. The unicorn's power is the super guide, so for the next 3 turns after hitting a green peg, you can see where the ball will bounce after colliding with something. Purple pegs add a point boost to your current score. If you can earn over 25,000 points, you earn a free ball, and you can earn more balls back by reaching 50,000 or 75,000 points. You can also get a ball back by landing it in the free ball pit that's moving back and forth at the bottom of the screen. Now, you might be asking how someone can earn 25,000 or more points from a single shot. That's where the fever meter comes in. As you clear around orange pegs, your score multiplier increases, meaning it takes less pegs to reach a high score. Sometimes you can score back a bunch of free balls just by racking up points from a purple peg and even a few blue ones. Orange pegs are worth more than blue ones. To make accurate shots, you can also use the arrow keys or mouse wheel to nudge your aim in increments. There are also moving elements in some stages, but if you're waiting for the perfect shot, you can use the right mouse button to fast forward. So I mentioned that clearing the last orange peg activates Extreme Fever. If you manage to clear out all the other pegs before then, you activate Ultra Extreme Fever. Get 100,000 points from the fever alone, compared to the possibility of earning only 10,000 or 50,000, and achieve a 100% completion badge. This is hard to do though, so if you can do it, do it. Now let's go over all the other teachers at the Peggle Institute, who guide you throughout the adventure mode to become a Peggle master yourself. Jimmy Lightning is next, and his power is the multi-ball. Whack a green peg to make another ball pop out the other side, potentially leading to more pegs and more points and even some free balls. Cat Tut follows in the next few stages, and his power is the pyramid. The free ball pit becomes this pyramid that makes it easier to bounce and slide the ball into it. Sometimes. This lasts for 5 turns instead of the more common 3. Splork Splorkin is next, and his power is the Space Blast. Hitting a green peg causes an explosion that lights up all the nearby pegs, orange and blue included. Clawed Lobster takes over the next few stages with his power, the Flippers. When you hit a green peg, for the next 3 turns, you get to use Claude's claws like pinball flippers and bounce the ball back up. Up next is Renfield, who specializes in the spooky ball. When hitting a green peg, the free ball pit covers up, and the ball is able to return to the top of the screen after falling through the bottom. Spooky, right? Swapping spookiness for sunshine, Tula's Sunflower's magic power is the Flower Power, which lights up a fifth of the nearby orange pegs when hitting a green peg. That means it's better to use at the beginning of the round instead of the end. Warren Rabbit follows Tula with possibly the most random and powerful magic power in the game, the Lucky Spin. When you hit a green peg, a roulette starts, potentially choosing either a triple score, which triples the score after the next 2 balls, extra ball, which gives you a free ball, magic hat, which hovers over the ball for the next 2 turns and can light up pegs on its own, and one of any of the other instructor's powers. That is crazy. Lord Cinderbottom is the master of the fireball. Hitting the green peg makes the next ball you fire a fireball, which plows right through pegs. The free ball pit gets covered initially, but if the ball hits it, it opens, letting the ball bounce back up to hit more pegs, and potentially giving you a free ball. Finally, Master Who uses the Zen Ball, which takes your next planned shot and nudges it to hit more pegs and bricks than you would have before, sometimes even landing you a free ball in the process. After finishing each master's stages, you get 5 more stages until you achieve Peggle Mastery, and you're allowed to choose any of the masters to accompany you. These levels are challenging, so it's worth trying different Peggle masters to see which one helps you out the most. After beating those levels, you're rewarded with your Peggle Master certificate and the end credits. But the game's not quite over yet. Once you beat Adventure Mode, you unlock Challenge Mode, where you have multiple ways of playing stages with new twists. For instance, you can play some stages and have to clear 30, 40, or 50 orange pegs, achieve a certain score level, finish a level with less than 3 balls, beat a computer player in 2-player mode, or play multiple levels back to back. They're a challenge for sure, hence the name, but it's a lot of fun. There's also a 2-player mode. You can play with a second player or the computer, and the player with the most points wins. The rules are a little bit different. Each player starts with 5 balls, and there's a penalty for any player that fails to hit any orange pegs on a turn. Other than that, it's standard Peggle. And with that, our PopCap adventure is at an end. It's been a fun journey, but it's time to move on to bigger and better... Huh? Ugh, fine. PopCap made another game that people love so much. Here is Plants vs. Zombies. I guess when it comes to talking about PopCap games, bringing up Plants vs. Zombies is a contractual obligation. Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense game that, for some reason, captured everyone's attention when it came out. Sure, people loved Bejeweled, Bookworm, and Peggle, but PvZ? That's where everyone knew PopCap as a household name. So what is it about this game that people loved so much? Well, I will admit that the gameplay is a lot of fun. In Adventure Mode, you're given a playing field of either 5 or 6 rows with tiles to plants. Sun falls down from the sky as you play to help you grow more, but you can plant things like sunflowers to help you get more sun. Then there are the plants that shoot. You have pea shooters in many varieties, cacti, starfruit, mushrooms at night, and cabbage poults to toss stuff when there isn't a straight shot. For defense, walnuts block enemies from getting past by taking a long time to eat, tall nuts prevent enemies that can vault over obstacles, but can't stop ladders, go figure, and there are plants for the water that can take enemies down. Some plants pop balloons, eat enemies, take enemies down into the water, freeze enemies, blow away fog, blow up, pop tires, etc. Now let's talk about the zombies for a second. Why zombies? Of all the fad properties out there, zombies are my least favorite. Why did it have to be Plants vs. Zombies? Why couldn't it have been evil plants mutated by pesticides or something? Call it Plant Wars. Or take a note from CTR and make it Aliens. Call it Plants vs. Aliens. Actually, that's not a bad idea for a name. I wonder if they ever considered what they did? Anyway, the zombies come in a variety of flavors. None of them brain-flavored. Most of them just hobble forward, waiting to be pelted by the pea shooters. When a big wave of them approaches, they are led by the flag zombie, whose only difference is that he holds a flag. Some zombies wear cones and buckets on their heads, making it harder to defeat them. Some hold newspapers or screen doors to protect themselves, while others wear football gear. There are dancing zombies, pole vaulting zombies, and bungee zombies that will steal a plant or a pot on the roof. There are 3 areas in which you battle zombies, both by day and by night. The front yard gives you 5 lanes to plant plants, and there are lawnmowers at the front of the house to act as a last resort if zombies get past your defenses. At night, however, you cannot get sun from the sun, so you need to use sunflowers and later sunshrooms to generate sun to grow plants. The backyard has a swimming pool, so to plant any ground plants on it, you need to first place a lily pad. There are dedicated water plants though, so make sure to use them too. Finally, the roof is slanted, so not only do you need to use pots to put plants on the roof, but you need to utilize catapult-based plants to get any shots in that aren't right in the middle of the roof. I didn't play the full game for this video, but I at least wanted to show each area. You're not just planting plants the whole time though. You'll sometimes play a few mini-games courtesy of your neighbor, Crazy Dave. But everyone calls him Crazy Dave. He coerces you into playing bowling with walnuts, smashing pots to find plants and zombies, and these lightning rounds where you grab plants from a conveyor belt and place them where you feel it's needed. You can play more of these mini games from the menu, and there are even some extras that aren't in the main game. Crazy Dave also owns a shop, where you can buy extra seed slots, since normally you can only choose 6 plants to take with you in a level, upgraded seeds, and other accessories like pool cleaners to add another line of defense in the backyard. But holy heck does he charge crazy prices for the seed slots. Well, crazy is in his name, so I guess I could let that go. You also have a Zen garden where you can plant and raise plants outside of the main game. There's not much to it. You fertilize and water the plants and they grow, and that's it. The graphics motion-wise are a step up from previous games in the way. It uses multiple images to do tweened motion, kind of like what games like Rayman Origins did. The plants and zombies can move at 60 frames per second without really changing much of the artwork, and it works for this kind of game. The music is also pretty nice, not composed by a demo scene artist this time. Instead, Laura Shigihara handled all the composing duties, wanting to take a Danny Elfman-esque style with some spooky themes thrown about. I think it worked well. I actually have a few of the songs stuck in my head, so that's how you know the soundtrack works. And that's Plants vs. Zombies. It wasn't a bad game by any means, I just have a disdain for things that are overrated and popular. Plus, I don't like zombies, so that didn't help much. Well, we've reached the end of our PopCap journey. For real this time. I want to thank you guys for sticking around, it means a lot. The next video... I don't know, to be honest. The Sonic Adventure video is pushed back to September at the earliest, maybe October. Depends on how things go. I'll try to have something ready for next month, but with school ramping up, I just don't have that much time anymore. This video nearly killed me. So did the last one, actually, having to do multiple things in one day and do my schoolwork. Plus the animation at the beginning of this video set me back a few days, but it's over and I can rest now. Right? So, hopefully we have a video going for next month. Time will tell. Take care guys, and be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe and ring that bell to keep on top of things. Also, don't forget to check out ArtisIan Music every Tuesday, as updates are still going strong over there. See you later!